On Saturday night, a feast of soccer action. At 9 o'clock, live from Darling Harbour in Sydney, the 1992 Coca-Cola Soccer League Awards. Awards that distinguish the efforts of Australia's best soccer talent.
Yes, that was how Marseille lost last year's European Champions Cup final to Red Star and blew its chance to become the first French club to win a European trophy. Today it's Monaco, ironically Marseille's biggest home rival, and not even a French team, strictly speaking, with the chance to do just that. Welcome to SBS's live coverage of the 32nd European Cup Winners' Cup final, direct from Lisbon in a few minutes. Their opponents, Werder Bremen, whose precision football won them the German championship 2 seasons ago. Joining us in the studio this morning, former Australian national coach Rale Rasic and former Socceroo captain Johnny Warren. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Les.
Morning.
John, big game. We've seen quite a few of these down the last 12 years or so. Cup tie stuff. The interesting thing about the European Cup Winners' Cup is that these are teams which have been honed on cup football. They've all won their domestic cup competitions. They are masters at it. But I'm a little bit worried about the tragedy that happened yesterday in Corsica. And from what we hear from Martin Tyler down the line, it is preying on the minds of the Monaco players.
Well, no doubt it would, because it's so close to home, and a tragedy of immense proportions, and particularly for that team. And unfortunately, or fortunately I should say, in the stadium today, a stadium we know so well and has so many fond memories from the young Socceroos' performances in the World Youth Championships.
That's right.
Will be nowhere near the capacity, but certainly the effect of the events of yesterday will affect Monaco, no doubt.
Really, that's a coach's job to lift the team inside, because they are apparently a bit of a doldrums, Monaco, whom many would have considered favourites today.
You know, probably experience just in French football compared to the world football, probably biggest of the factors for a coach to lift. Tragedy, one of those things. I think they can overcome much easier this tragedy than they could overcome really this sort of big occasion outing for them, especially when it's not in France. You know, it's a neutral ground and so on.
Okay, well, it's a job for the coach. Let's bring you some news on the two team lineups as we know them at the moment, coming through from Lisbon, the Estádio da Luz, the biggest stadium, by the way, in Europe. Looking at the two teams, Monaco had a bit of a problem with Rui Barros, the Portuguese midfielder, who passed a fitness test just before the kick-off, so he's in the side. But there is a problem with the midfielder Claude Puel, who normally plays in a number 7 shirt. He's out. He's been replaced by Jérôme Gnacco. But otherwise, that team that you see there is pretty well the normal Monaco side. And their veteran goalkeeper, Jean-Luc Ettori, is 36 years of age, and he'll be a great advantage. The Werder Bremen side is pretty well fit. No real problems there. Number 9, Neubart, was not prophesied to be playing today, but he's in the side. And of course, many people will know Wynton Rufer pretty well, the number 10. Kiwi fans will remember him and look to him fairly fondly. The veteran there, of course, is Klaus Allofs, who's pushing 35, 36. And don't forget also that Bremen's regular goalkeeper, Otto Rehhagel, is out, suspended. So they've got a 25-year-old instead of a 32-year-old goalkeeper in his place in Jürgen Rollmann. So they're the two teams today. Let's have a look at how the two teams got to Lisbon, and you'll find that Bremen have the better record. They scored more and conceded less than Monaco over their 8 matches, rattling up a most impressive 11 goals against the Romanian Cup winners in the first round, Wynton Rufer scoring a hat-trick in one of them. And they had tough opponents all the way through, managing just the 1 loss to Bruges in the semis. Monaco, by contrast, didn't lose a match, but could let fly only in 1 game, an 8-0 thrashing of Swansea in the first round at home. Then it was a struggle all the way against tough opponents, 2-1 and 1-0 against Norrköping, a narrow but surprise aggregate win against Roma, and on the away goals against Feyenoord, when everyone expected the Dutch to squeeze through. Overall, they scored 17 and conceded 5 in 8 matches. Cup Winners' Cup finals can produce some memorable encounters and some memorable victories. These are teams that had won their domestic cup competitions, as we said, and are well honed on cup tie football. We'll take you back now to last year's final, when a Manchester United dream came true against favourites Barcelona. Let's recall the highlights. a dream come true for Manchester United, their first European trophy in a couple of decades, and that was a big day for them. But really tell me about the fact that Monaco and Werder Bremen are both in the European Cup final for the first time ever. And that worries me a little, because that's what happened with Marseille and Red Star last year, and they were so anxious to win a European trophy that they both went very negative.
When you look average age of both teams, it's 31 years of age. Players 35, 36. I don't think so that occasion would be probably that great factor. But it's so much experience when you analyze both teams and their age, and plus their international record for either France or Germany, then really that shouldn't be the case. Also, the crowd is probably not biggest of the factors, because the crowd won't be as 100 or 120,000 people probably would be, if lucky, 20,000 people in the stadium.
Well, judging by what normally happens in Lisbon, yes, it won't be a big crowd. John, Martin Tyler at the Estádio da Luz, and Klaus Allofs, the hero of the moment, scoring to give Werder Bremen their 1-0 lead. Klaus Allofs, of course, has done the travels. He was with Bordeaux, with Marseille, with FC Köln, with Fortuna Düsseldorf, and now at the ripe old age of 35, he's scoring goals in the European Cup Winners' Cup final. Of course, as you know, SBS Television will have a big night ahead of us on Saturday night, when we bring you from 9 p.m. Eastern Time the National Soccer League Awards, and then from 10:30 Eastern Time, of course, the two FA Cup finals, English and then the Scottish. So a big night then. And of course, we also bring you live the forthcoming Thursday mornings the two other European Cup finals, the second leg of the UEFA Cup, and of course the Champions Cup final. But I wonder if you're also aware that we're bringing in live both of the matches between the Australians and the Dutch in the Olympic qualifiers, and then of course Euro 92 from the 10th of June onwards. So all that's still to come here on SBS. We'll take a short break now and be back in just a moment. And welcome back. 1-0 the scoreline in the European Cup Winners' Cup final of 1992 to Werder Bremen over Monaco. Although Johnny Warren and Rale Rasic, I should think pretty much against the run of play. John?
I think there's no doubt Monaco have been the better side in the first half, but as we're all aware, it doesn't count in the final analysis. They've had a couple of chances. Bremen had a couple as well, but got the all-important one through a combination of bad defending and excellent finish from an experienced finisher.
Yeah, really, Bremen looked uncustomarily nervous in the opening moments, and they've really been taking a submissive role ever since, at least until that goal came.
They looked like a good sparring partners in first opening 5 or 10 minutes, really. And the sparring partner who didn't even have a proper warm-up, because they were just falling over the ball, and unusual for German football that you see these footballers who are really true professionals to look like. I would say that out of 45 minutes of play, they didn't have probably 3 minutes possession. And when really everything was set up for taking, I would say probably occasion has to do something with it, that Monaco just didn't take them apart, because there were few moves down on the flanks, which they play clinical football, cut back and beautiful, they have done everything except finishing.
So what good defending by Bremen then, just to keep...
Well, it was, but it was a very uncharacteristic start. I mean, not just really allude to the German teams, how well organised they generally are, but also such an experienced side. Very seldom seen a team like that start so badly.
Okay, John, well, let's have a look at, does a team like Monaco do now, Rale, because I'm sure they've felt that they had the better of the first half. They were bubbling in the first half, and they're the ones who are behind.
My view, if they sort of a bit more arrogant, and if they really apply principles as they did in first 45 minutes, they played excellent constructive football, except one thing, they haven't finished anything off. I would not underrate them. I think they're playing excellent football. They are well composed, and they're not surprised to me or anybody else, I would say. But Werder is there for taking. They're leading 1-0, so that's a big advantage, but they are there for takings, really.
John, it's going to be hard though, because Monaco players know that Bremen played the submissive role in the first half, and they're still ahead now. Is Bremen, given that they are not really playing that well, likely to try to close this one up now?
Well, I think in what we've seen so far, and they probably have the capacity to do it. I would, looking at Monaco, Fofana has been disappointing for me. I expected a lot more of him. He is, as we said before the game, a very hot and cold player, but a very quiet game for him. Barros having a quiet game as well. But Bremen have the experience at the back, don't they? The experience in the internationals of various countries, and they're capable of holding out.
Okay, well, it's going to be a pretty tough one for poor old Monaco there. It is unusual, actually, John, to get a goal this early in a European final, because they're very,
We've been waiting weeks for a goal, haven't we?
Yes. So, well, we're not going to say what we all said to each other in the sweep here. We might reveal that later. But there is at least a relatively early goal here, and there could be quite an interesting game.
Yes, well, thankfully not 0-0. Thankfully not people playing for the penalties. But Monaco, better team for me first half. They're up against it, sure. A bad time, as they say, to get a goal in the last 5 minutes. They've really got to lift themselves now. And more of what we saw in the first half, with a bigger contribution, as I said earlier, from the likes of Fofana and Barros.
Rale, you're a practical sort of coach, a pragmatic sort of man on the bench. I mean, what would you do in Bremen's place?
Bremen is in much better position, in German football or any other country which has such a solid defensive record. Germans have to sit and play the way they really didn't play, and they are leading 1-0.
Yeah. You're not avoiding the question, are you, really? I mean,
no. I would still say that Germans will maintain this 1-0 or score another goal. The dangerous point is, if Monaco comes at them, they can be punished. Now that offside trap, as you could see on the right-hand side, didn't work once, which they could be sort of probably another goal down. But Germans didn't create anything. That's what worries me. But now it was given.
Well, yeah. So that's what I'm asking. If you're their coach, you would be worried about that. Would you not?
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
You would have a temptation to maybe wait 10 minutes and then you'd close it up, wouldn't you?
But if they continue playing the way they are playing, they can pray to God that they take 1-0 or any score which would favor, really. But Monaco, on the other hand, it has control of the field, has...
Martin Tyler at the Estádio da Luz in Lisbon, and nobody can begrudge, of course, Otto Rehhagel his victory over Werder Bremen. That's the 5th victory in the Cup Winners' Cup alone for German clubs now, and still no French trophy in all 3 competitions. Quite amazing. Rale Rasic, what did you think?
Werder Bremen, typical Germans, they stuck by their guns and they applied discipline method. Never doubt that they can succeed. Even when they are not performing well, they won and deserved to win because they knew how to do it. On the other hand, Monaco looked excellent, looked brilliant, but very suspect in the mental toughness. Once they conceded second goal, they just went in pieces, and probably Werder could score another goal.
John?
Well, I felt a little bit sorry for Monaco. I thought they played some nice football, the beautiful game, if you like, with no result at the end of it. For Werder Bremen, made the most of limited opportunities. A special game for Wynton Rufer, wasn't it? Probably 2 or 3 touches involved in 2 goals, and ideal game, if you like, for a striker. But I felt a little bit sorry for Monaco, but well done to Werder Bremen.
Where did this lack of mental toughness manifest itself, really? Because, I mean, I saw no sign of Monaco players cracking up or anything like that. I thought I agree with John, they played extremely good football.
Yeah, but when you analyze first 5 minutes of the first half and first 5 minutes of the second half, they produced some outstanding football, some incredible touches. But you analyze last 20 minutes since Germans scored second goal, there was just no composure, and they play football by accident, chasing their own shadows.
Okay, I'll accept that, Rale. Thanks for joining us again today. Thanks for your contribution, Rale, and Johnny as well. We'll see you, of course, on Saturday night. Before we leave you, a reminder that you can catch highlights of today's game at 7:30 tonight, and that our next live telecast is on Saturday night, 7 hours of it, starting with the National Soccer League Awards at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the English and Scottish Cup finals, of course, starting at 10:30, 90 minutes before kick-off. Lots of stories, lots of interesting previews before the cup final. And we're back here again next Thursday morning with the second leg of the UEFA Cup final between Ajax and Torino, as you heard from Martin Tyler. But from now, from all of us at SBS Sport, goodbye.